Okay, so again, here's, it's got fractions, clearly, right? So here's the wall of separation. So here, let's write fractions. Fractions with an equal sign. What do you do? Fractions with an equal one. Step one, LCD equals 1 of each denominator piece. Multiplied together, right? Multiplied together. Okay, so 1 of each type, I should say. Anyway, on this one, the only thing under the bar is that x, huh? This is the only denominator in the whole problem. That's the only thing under a bar. So that is the only denominator. It's the common denominator. All right, and then what do you do with that common denominator? You multiply LCD over 1 to every term. So here we go. So x, now I'm not going to put x over 1 here because this isn't a fraction. So I'll just put x, but I'll do it here. In fact, actually, let me use a different color so it's more clear. All right. So, I'll put x over 1, and x. So x over 1 is the same as x. I just show it as x over 1 when it's next to a fraction. Okay, so what happens? Right here, x times x is x squared. Here they cancel. Here it's minus 2x. So step 3, cross, cancel all denominators, multiply everything else. So cross cancel all denominators, multiply everything else. Is that good? What happened? Do you see how in the middle I cross canceled those x's? But here they multiplied because there was no denominator. You tracking with me? I multiplied x over 1, which is the same as x. I just made it x when there wasn't a fraction. It's the same as x over 1. Right? The x is in the top. So it cross-canceled here because there was another x in the denominator to cancel it. Whereas these guys, they're both just regular x's. They made x squared. This made minus 2x. Now we really go into a whole nother mode. Now we have, in fact, let me just write over here what we have. Now we have x squared. So we get a 0. So we get a 0. And factor or quadratic formula, either one. Is that making sense? So you want to kind of get in the rhythm whenever x squared rears its ugly head all of a sudden, when x squared pops up on the scene, even in the middle of the problem, even when there wasn't x squared to begin with, if x squared pops up somewhere partway through a problem, we had that earlier as well, you need to go right into your mode. You need to know exactly what, because that's going to come up throughout the entire course. And it needs to just become a knee-jerk reaction for you. Oh, x squared, get a 0, and either do this or the quad, do factoring or the quad. When you see x squared, you just think knee-jerk reaction. Get a 0, either factor it or do the quad. So I'm going to get a 0. I'm going to bring this down here. X squared minus 48 is minus 2x. So first step, get a 0. What do I mean get a 0? Get a 0 on the opposite side. Opposite side from x squared. So in other words, I want to get 0 over here. So I'm going to add 2x to both sides. And it cancels. See that? gets our 0. Other side, it goes in the middle, right? That's the order x squared, regular x, no x. We good there? So let me bring it back in here. So that's step 4. X squared. So get a 0. Opposite side from x squared. So get a 0 on the opposite side from x squared. That's what you do when x squared shows up. And then now we either factor or the quadratic formula. Either one will work. It doesn't matter. I've noticed students seem to prefer the quadratic formula, so I'll be glad to do that. So negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared, minus 4ac all over 2a. So let's do it. So this is the a. The a is 1. The b is 2. The c is negative 48. Let's plug them in. Negative b, negative 2, plus or minus square root b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. Where does that leave us? Minus 2 plus or minus the square root 4 plus, I think it's 192. Let me check. Yeah. Hey, watch out there. Really easy mistake to make. See how the 2 negatives made positive? Let me highlight that. So 2 negatives multiplied to equal positive. So really easy mistake to make. Watch out.
I have a question about.
Yeah, question.
If your b is a negative to begin with, is it still a negative when you put it in the front?
No, it'll change to positive.
Okay.
Yeah, good question. Because there's a negative right in the formula, huh?
Yeah.
There's a negative right in the quadratic formula. So if the b itself is also negative, the 2 negatives will become positive. Good question. Yeah. So if my b had been negative 2, then this would have changed to plus 2 at the front, wouldn't it? Everybody good with that? That's a great question. So yeah, because there's a negative in the formula. That's in addition to whatever sign b happens to have. So if b is negative, that's negative, that's positive. Good question. All right. And then the other place people mess up is right here. 2 negatives make positive, right there. All right, let's keep going. Negative 2 plus or minus square root of 196 all over 2. That's negative 2 plus or minus. What is the square root of 1? Isn't it 24? Oh, 14. All over 2. And so now we just do the 2 options, don't we? Negative 2 plus 14 over 2, or negative 2 minus 14 all over 2. We just do the 2 different options in the quadratic formula. So that's going to be, these 2 add up to be what? 12 over 2, which is 6. These 2 make negative something or other. Negative 16, don't they? Negative 8. So And there's our answers. We're done. So the answers are 6 and -8. Those are the answers. And they didn't, they don't care about what order we put them in or anything in this problem. No, they just want those two answers, and that's them. And so we got it. There it is.
So I have one